Hey, listeners. Welcome back to the Lakeside Voice, where we do a brief summary of a story's plot and ask the author of the story a few questions. Today's story is a fan fiction of The Old Man in the Sea by none other than Xavier Daniels. I'm really happy to have this man on my show today.
Thank you. Honestly, I'm just happy to be here myself.
Wonderful. Well, without further ado, let's dive into your take on The Old Man in the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. So, in this take on Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man in the Sea, looks like Mr. Daniels put us in the shoes of Old Man Santiago's friend, the boy. Throughout this interesting take on the story, we see how the boy lives his life in the village. The boy notices how people view Santiago, which almost leads him to pity the old man. Much like the original story, we see how the friendship between the old man and the boy is special. The boy helps care for the old man, and the old man tells the boy stories of his glory days, when he could actually catch a fish. We even get to see my personal favorite scene near the end of the story, where, from the eyes of the boy, we see how the old man battles the sharks for his catch, the marlin. What's different in Mr. Daniels' take on the story, however, is us, the reader, we see how the boy is inspired by the old man's relentless determination. It's truly a masterful take on the story, Mr. Daniels. Truly.
Thank you. I really just wanted to stick as close to the original as possible, but also change the perspective of the story. And I found that viewing the story from the eyes of the boy would work beautifully.
And it did, sir. It really did. But anyways, now on to the questions. So, first question: how different from or similar is your take on the story compared to the original work?
Honestly, I'd say it might as well be its own piece of literature. It certainly does take major points from the story and twist it to better suit my new narrative of the story. I did this in order to greatly shorten the story mainly, but also to help better tell my fan fiction.
Excellent answer, Mr. Daniels. Now, on to the second question. What were some important or meaningful moments in the narrative that resonated with you personally? Why were these moments significant to you?
Well, that's a no-brainer right there. The most meaningful moment in the narrative was the old man's battle for his catch, the marlin. It was important because it really showed what the story was all about.
Very interesting. Well, on to the third question. Now, Mr. Daniels, how did your ideas for the narrative evolve during the writing process, if at all? Did the story change significantly from your initial concept to the final product?
That is an excellent question. I'm actually really happy we were able to get into that because I myself have been wanting to talk about this. So, when I was first wanting to recreate the story, I actually only really changed one thing. That was the battle with the sharks. I wrote it so that there would be no sharks for the old man to fight. I wanted to see how that would affect the story, but I came to a consensus and decided to change it to what it is now.
Yeah, that would have led to a very interesting outcome, Mr. Daniels, but I gotta say, I'm happy with the current story. But now we go to our fourth question, Mr. Daniels. Were there any challenges or obstacles that you faced while writing this narrative? How'd you overcome them?
Yeah, there was a minor challenge actually. I wondered how I should make the boy seem more alive in a sense. I didn't want him to just be the eyes of the reader. I wanted to make it seem like he too had life in this world, so I described what his life was like at home. You know, how he seemed bored when waiting for the old man to return to the shore. I thought this would help deepen his character, even if only a little.
Perfect answer, Mr. Daniels. Well, we can now advance onto our final question. What universal theme did you want readers to take away from your narrative? And how exactly did you work to convey that theme to your audience?
I wanted readers to understand that perseverance and determination can really pay off in the end. We see how the old man, despite not catching anything, continues to paddle out onto the ocean to fish. We see the old man's determination and perseverance at the end when he battles the sharks. It makes it easier for my readers to understand. I made it clear that the boy felt inspired by Santiago's act of determination against the sharks.
Well, Mr. Daniels, those are all of my questions for you today. It was really nice to have you here today, sir. And I'm sorry, but I'm just a huge fan. It's been a real pleasure having you on my show today.
Oh, thank you. Your words mean a lot to me. It's been a pleasure being here.
Well, dear listeners, that's all for this episode. Tune in for next week's special episode, Why Are Apples Red? This has been your host, the Lakeside Voice, and I will talk to you later.